you look at it from a 3 to 4 year rotation, you're able to find a lot of new spots over a length of time where, again, you're not using camera data to kill a deer that season, and you're not really even trying to kill that buck or take that buck the next season because he might not be in there, but you're trying to find those date ranges of when those mature bucks are daylighting, and you're going in there and capitalizing on it the following season.
Yeah, it's a multi-year strategy, and you're building it year over year. All right, welcome back, everybody, to another Thursday Q&A. Want to say thank y'all for writing in some video questions. If you want to be on the show, the easiest way to get on the show is to go to our website and submit a video question. There's a whole tab for it. It's easy to find, so y'all go check that out. But Jacob, how are you?
Doing good. And it's the southernoutdoorsmen.com. Super easy to find it, tab there. But no, super excited. Mobile Hunters Expo is coming up this weekend.
Yes.
So, nothing more I'm telling you, nothing more exciting than the Mobile Hunter Expo. This is the third year we've done it in the South. It's the fourth year I've attended, though. So I'm beyond excited. So again, if you haven't bought your tickets already, or if you're not quite sure if you're going to make it to the Dalton Mobile Hunters Expo, try to make something happen. Get some buddies together. Again, starts tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this weekend, Mobile Hunters Expo is going on. Come hang out with us. Come talk to Bobby Worthington. Come talk to us. Come watch some seminars. Come try out a bunch of gear and meet some other great bow hunters from the Deep South. So
yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. You know, once that's over with, there's nothing between us and deer season, baby.
Except dove season.
Dove season.
And it's still fishing season.
Yeah, you can go catch some amberjack.
And tick season if you want to go scout.
Yeah, that's right.
So, anyway. But yeah, appreciate it. Hopefully see a bunch of you guys there.
All right, cool. Well, let's do our first Q&A. This is from Logan Woody from Tennessee.
What's up, guys? So my question is pertaining to the buck calendar from the podcast that y'all did with Danny Williams. So I had a camera that was soaking, a singular camera that was soaking on some public land, very low deer density, and I had the first buck, one buck, show up early November, like November 2nd. Didn't get another photo. The next time I got a daylight photo of a buck was November 25th, so at the very end of the month. But I only got one photo of him again. The next daylight photo I got was like mid to late December, like December 20th. So my question is, if I'm not getting what sounded like on y'all's podcast where you'll find this like 4 days of a ton of buck activity, but I'm only getting one photo, should I still put them in my calendar? Or should I just say, oh, you know, there's not enough activity to say that this is the spot? Because it is a very low deer density area. As far as the listener success, though, I did use his tactic 2 seasons ago. I saw a bunch of bucks chasing a doe, and I remember that spot, the date, everything. Went in there this past season, and there was a blind sitting in the spot I wanted to sit at, full of beer cans. So it was obvious that it was overpressured. But I remember Danny saying, no questions asked, you put your butt there, because they weren't there when the buck was there. So I believed him. I sat there, and about an hour later, this guy walked out. And so it was just really cool to see the system work. So I'm a believer in it. But that's my question. Thank you guys for all that you do. And y'all really helped me put some giants on the wall.
All right, Logan, appreciate that question. What's your take on that? So he's got low deer density area. He only got really one picture of this buck, like during that window. So what's your take?
I mean, during his window, it's 3 different times, though, right?
Yeah,
early November.
But they were way far apart.
I know, early November, late November, and then December. Gosh, personally, for me to using Daniel's strategy, Daniel would probably say hunt it.
Yeah.
And just go and try it around those date ranges. You know, day or two beforehand, after, so on, between those dates. Even in low deer number areas, I feel like I should see a little more activity in that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, find a different scrape, find a slightly different spot, maybe try to build some inventory up. But that's the best thing you have to go off of. So probably spend a little bit of time there around that time frame, especially if it was daylight activity. Now, if it was just nighttime activity, I don't hold it super I don't know, that's not super important to me. If it's or I do hold. Well, let me step it back some. If it's just nighttime activity, because he didn't specify. Did he specify? I don't remember him specifying if it was daylight. But if it's nighttime activity specifically, I wouldn't get excited about that. I would still kind of shift around. If it's daylight activity, yeah, put a couple sets at it, see how it does, but then try to move some cameras around. Try to figure out some other spots. Now, also, Logan mentioned that he saw all that rutting activity a couple years ago, went back in there and ended up sitting in that spot, even though there was a blind there and there was beer cans there, ended up killing a nice buck. I would remember that spot and that date range again for this year. Again, that's the cool thing about these spots, and like Daniel talks about is, those does kind of continue to come into heat year over year. Their doe fawns are going to have similar heat cycles as the mother, and you kind of keep capitalizing on that opportunity. And it's another reason to kind of start shifting cameras around a little bit more, find some other areas as well this fall for next year. But yeah, I would throw a couple sets at it and see how it is.
Yeah, could you look up what episode number that was real quick?
I've got it pulled up right here. Daniel Williams. Keep forgetting the S on the back of it. Mm-hmm. Episode 584, Learning a Mature Buck Schedule with Daniel Williams. Again, episode 584. It's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It came out May 20th of 2024. So last May is when that episode came out. It's actually, there's a clip from that episode that's still one of our most popular videos ever, when he starts talking about specifically looking at buck circuit loops,
like
and
a rut loop.
buck loops with rubs, like finding them based off rubs. Very, very popular video on YouTube. But go check that episode out. Again, episode 584 with Daniel Williams. We had a ton of listener success stories come from that episode. Mm-hmm. From last season, had a bunch of episodes, and I'm sure we're going to have a bunch more this coming season based off that. Because I think it was last year's when people kind of capitalized on past history in certain spots, but also probably had that thought process when putting cameras out to plan on for 2025 season of where they should be hunting. So hopefully it works out for a lot of you guys. We've seen it work, but definitely try it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Daniel would say hunt it, especially if it's a daytime video. If it's the best thing you got to go off of, I would be hunting it. Now, I will say also that I put some cameras in a really low deer density area last year, and I had bucks that came through in certain date ranges, but it was multiple bucks, and it was several times in the date range.
And very low deer numbers.
Very low deer numbers in this area, and I had like 4 bucks that I would definitely shoot in there that all came through within a probably 2-week period. Mm-hmm. I got to go back still and look at, like, hone it into like a 4-day window or 3-day, like when was the highest concentration. I still have to go back and look at that, but it was pretty concentrated, and it was multiple bucks too. So that was me, but like, I think Daniel would say hunt it. We ought to text Daniel real quick and see.
No, I mean, I would say Daniel would definitely say hunt it. If it's daylight activity, definitely hunt it.
Yeah, dude, I would definitely go try that out and write in. Let us know. Let us know if you have success doing that for sure. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but he said he's in Tennessee. So, low deer density area in Tennessee. Dude, if it's the best thing you got to go off of, hunt that thing. See what happens. Throw some other cameras out in some other areas. What I've been doing with Daniel since we've known Daniel for a long time, and so we've talked to him about that tactic for several years now. Maybe before we went really in depth with it on the podcast. Mm-hmm. And so I've been doing it for a couple years, and what I've been doing now is I'll get 1 or 2 years of data in a spot, and then I'm moving on to another spot. So, for instance, this year I've got an area that I'm interested in hunting that I haven't hunted these last 2 seasons, but I have ran cameras on it. I've got the date range that I know I want to be in there. And this year I'm probably not going to run any cameras in there. I might put one in there, maybe, but I probably won't. Because I already have the date range.
And that's what Daniel talks about. Like, once you get the date ranges, you can then move those cameras to a different section, let them soak, hunt the place you had your cameras in last year for those annual patterns, and hunt that. And then you constantly are building new areas you can go and hunt and have success with. And that's what Daniel's been able to do, where pretty much any date range from opening bow season all the way through December, so October to December, he's got spots he can go to based off annual history, which is going to make odds of, connecting with a mature buck or with a buck a lot higher.
Yeah.
And that's only, again, if you look at it from a 3 to 4 year rotation, you're able to find a lot of new spots over a length of time where, again, you're not using camera data to kill a deer that season, and you're not really even trying to kill that buck or take that buck the next season because he might not be in there, but you're trying to find those date ranges of when those mature bucks are daylighting, and you're going in there and capitalizing on it the following season.
Yeah, it's a multi-year strategy, and you're building it year over year. And really, the one reason that tactic is so useful, especially for people who have limited time to hunt, if you're a weekend warrior, maybe you have that spot where November 2nd, or whatever that weekend is, that first weekend in November, you've got one spot that's like great and consistent, but that weekend comes around this year and you get a warm front and it's like 75 degrees and it's terrible. Daniel would say that still hunt it, and I believe that, still hunt it, but I did that last year and got my butt handed to me. I mean, on a silver platter. It was rough, like rough. So if that weekend's a dud, well, maybe on the next weekend, maybe that spot's still good. Maybe you have another spot that pops off that next weekend. So it gives you options where hopefully the stars will align, where you've got different areas you can go to based on the time of year, and maybe one of those areas you just hit it perfect with a cold front. You got great weather, you got a couple days to hunt, and you can go in there and, capitalize.
Yep.
So that's the reason that it's important to continue to build on it and find new areas to give yourself options for that scenario, because I did not do that, and it was rough. It was bad. All right, next up, we got Mason from Georgia.
What's up, boys? Mason from Georgia. I got a couple questions for you. So, last year I was not successful at my lease. The past 3 years have been great. Last year was not. Had a bunch of shooters on camera. Unfortunately, they all got shot, and I kind of gave up towards the latter part of the season. I think we shot like 12 bucks last year, or they shot 12 bucks last year. Everything from like 148, a couple high 30s, mid 30s, and a couple like 20s. My question is, I've got 3 parcels that are basically 600 square yards, and I'm thinking about being a little bit more aggressive this year. Keep in mind, 98% of the property is clear cut. There's SMZs that run through it. Multiple kind of SMZs in the lower parts of the drainages that all funnel back towards the backside swamp. So I'm thinking about getting a little tighter to those SMZs instead of playing the, assuming I'm gonna have a 200-yard shot with a 7 mag. Keep in mind, every parcel that I have has like a box stand or a ladder stand or a climber, something like that. That's basically, if you go and hunt this piece, there's like one stand to hunt. So I'm thinking about getting a little bit more mobile, being aggressive, but not too aggressive too often. I don't want to like blow the deer out. So I know there's not like a hard line on what to do and what not to do. But any type of like tips and tricks on that. Second question is, at the very back of our property, there's a swamp. Nobody really goes back there because of the wild pigs, the gnats, the moccasins, the rattlesnakes, the copperheads, all that type of stuff. I'm thinking about using that parcel. It's one of my dad's pieces. He hasn't hunted in 5 years. He shot his biggest buck ever like 7 years ago in it, but he don't really go back in there with his older age and just the effort that it's going to take to get back in there. I know there's acorns back there because the wood ducks I'll have on camera are eating them. I've thought about either finding a scrape or creating a mock scrape back there with licking branch or whatever and try to attract bucks that way. Or should I just find a feed tree and try to target that one specific tree? So what's your thoughts and opinions on that? And then lastly, this is just kind of a funny one. When I went to the website to do this Q&A, I so happened to scroll past something that said like meet the hosts. And Andrew had this nice 120-inch, 10-pointer. and Jacob had this little this little 6-pointer. So I don't know if that's Andrew trying to get back at you or what, but maybe we could update that picture, Jacob, and get you a big old Iowa buck in there or something. Either way, I appreciate what y'all do. Y'all know I'm a sales rep, so I drive every day. So I'm constantly listening to y'all and every other hunting podcast out there. Just trying to get better, and appreciate what y'all do. See you.
All right, Mason, appreciate you sending that in. Mason's been on the podcast before. He killed that drop tine deer on the property he's talking about. He's had a lot of luck out there. It's a really special property, it seems like. Especially killed another 140 out there this year. They did, so.
148.
That's a solid buck right there, baby. All right, so we'll take him. We'll do the last one first. Jacob's buck on the website. So that is the 6-point that you shot on our mountain hunt a couple years ago, and we filmed that hunt actually, and we couldn't use the footage because our microphones messed up, and like the entire hunt didn't have audio. It would have been like a silent movie. But the reason that picture's on there is because it's just the most professional picture we had of Jacob.
Yeah, I've killed a lot bigger bucks, but Andrew wants to use this one of the smaller mature bucks I've ever killed. So, it's all good. It don't hurt. It's all
Hey,
good.
it's an old buck.
Yeah.
That's a mature deer.
It's a good representation of what you could kill in the South. You can kill some deer some age, you might not always have the head gear.
That's right.
So
yeah, what did Carl Miller say? He's like, yeah, that deer probably just got passed his whole life. And then he walked out in front of Jacob.
that's all that matters.
We can put your Iowa buck on there if you want. It's just like, it's not a great picture. I mean,
No.
it's a big buck, but
Yeah, but they're not great photos.
yeah, it's like a cell phone picture. We took that one with a fancy mirrorless camera, and I just thought it looked good. I'm sorry.
No.
I didn't mean to slight you.
It's all good. Appreciate it, Mason. Thanks for looking out for me, brother. Hopefully see you in Dalton, Georgia for the Mobile Hunters Expo. Since you're talking about getting a little more mobile, baby, you can be
Yeah.
there at the expo.
All right, so now going back to the first part of the question. So the property that Mason hunts sets up like he said, it's 90% clear cut. And we say clear cut, we don't mean like bare dirt or anything. It's thick. Like the whole property's thick. It's got skinny little SMZs, which are streamside management zones, which are strips of mature timber that timber companies leave around the creeks and brooks and streams to prevent erosion.
Who says Brook?
Well,
You
Yankees.
Yankee. God. Now, and we don't say crick either. Creek.
Crick. Like I got a crick in my neck.
Oh, that's what they say up in PA, baby.
Yeah.
Ohio, crick.
Crick.
Anyway, but yeah, streamside management zone.
So streamside management zones. So there's small strips of timber along those with mature trees. Usually they're oak trees or some kind of hardwood. And so Mason, what you're saying is pushing further up into the SMZs. You know, obviously those create an edge. So all that thick cover out there is great, but the deer tend to gravitate towards the edges, which is why those SMZs are usually pretty good. As far as getting more aggressive than you have been in the past, what I would do personally if I was hunting the property is, yeah, I know you're probably already really familiar with it because you've been hunting for a couple years, but if you don't have it in mind exactly where you'd want to hunt in those areas, when you're talking about getting more aggressive, maybe pushing up into those SMZs, maybe looking up at the heads of them, or where a small ditch comes out of like a low spot, maybe running through that thicket comes into that SMZ. Maybe there's not even timber in that low spot. Maybe it's just like a low swag in the earth. I like hunting where those little low ditches come into those SMZs. Those have always been good spots for me, and I've killed bucks on them. And what I did is this time of year, even though it sucks, wear your snake boots, put on your permethrin, but I would go in there now and go ahead and find the tree that you want to hunt on those more aggressive days and prep the spot, know how you're going to get in, know how you're going to get out, know the tree that you're going to get in, and don't hunt those until the conditions are really, really good, and don't get aggressive on a subpar day.
Yep.
So even if it's the rut, like we were talking about this before, even when it's the rut, if the conditions aren't great, like if we don't have a good cold front, or if it's a sketchy wind, or if it's hot outside, like whatever the case may be, I maybe wouldn't go to those spots. But the reason I say go scout it now is so when you do get that perfect day, you know exactly where you're going, you know exactly how to get there quietly and cleanly, and you know exactly which tree you're going to get in, so you can just execute on it when the time comes. That's what I would personally do. What do you think?
So, Mason, I would look internally on this question. You've killed big bucks in this place. Last year was not your year for whatever reason. I would love to know, and maybe we'll talk to the Mobile Hunters Expo this weekend, get some more information. I would love to know what what was different this year. I know you in the past you talked about like they've sprayed some of these clear cuts because they were replanting pines. What was different this year from the habitat standpoint and how the place hunted, and also what was your schedule that was different? Did you hunt similar time frames? Did you do everything similar than you did 2 seasons ago when you killed your 2 real big bucks? I would want to know those details because there could be something small like that that just changed the landscape where the deer weren't using it as well as they were using it the previous seasons. Which means I wouldn't necessarily go maybe change a whole bunch. I would just reanalyze what changed last year compared to this year. Did your schedule change? Did your availability? Did you hunt the same time frames? What happened that was similar and different? If everything was the same, everything looked the same, you hunted similar dates, you had similar opportunities, I still probably wouldn't change a ton. I would just bounce around a little bit more with the scouting standpoint. Like you had mentioned in your question, going up in some of those SMZs, spot checking, see if you find anything different sign-wise that you didn't notice in previous years of how they're using the property and using the section of land. Because the thing about, for all the viewers and listeners out there, Mason's Hunting Club, when you're a member, you have designated units that's the only thing you can hunt. You can't go hunt other parts of the club. Like, you have designated units that you're assigned to, and nobody else is supposed to go there, and you're not supposed to go any other spots. So he's kind of, even though he's on a big club, he's kind of limited to his sections that he has access to, and then his dad has access to. So that's, again, I might not would change a whole bunch. I would just look internally. What did you do different, if anything? Did the property set up anything different? Did they spray more? Did stuff grow up a little bit different? All those kind of features. And then, I mean, we've mentioned this, Mason, to you before on some of the questions. You get one of those big clear cuts, and it starts growing up. It starts getting a little thick, nasty, where you can't see super great. And the deer are bedding in it, and they're still feeding in it. They're still good browse. Those low spots, like Andrew had said, low spots going in and out of those clear cuts on those ridge tops are fantastic travel paths for deer to be able to navigate those areas. And if you can find an SMZ that runs up between 2 edge clear cuts, and there is a ditch on one side of it coming out of a clear cut, and on the other side of the SMZ, there's another ditch comes out of that clear cut and meets down the SMZ, that is an awesome spot. Throw a camera, mock scrape, and or potentially throw a sit at it. But again, you know how to kill big bucks on the place. Just for some reason last year just didn't work out for you. Love to kind of get some more information from you, hopefully at the Mobile Hunters Expo this weekend, and learn a little bit more about it. Now, for the swamps.
Yep. Yeah, but that's a good point, by the way. Some years it just ain't going to happen.
Yeah, dude, it happens.
It's everybody has years like that, so. Like me.
I mean, but like for real, like
last year, yeah.
You hunted spots that were proven, and you had seen deer, like on your old club. Again, you're not in it anymore; you're in a different club now. But the club you'd been in for a couple of years, you knew where you would see deer, and you went in there, and I don't know what happened. They got abducted by aliens. They are not there. Like, they just weren't, and the sign wasn't even there. And the sign was even worse last year than it had been in previous years.
Yeah, it was rough.
Stuff happens, and like droughts. I'm telling you. Droughts can cause a lot of issues. Droughts and no mass crops can cause a ton of issues with deer shifting off the different sides of the property.
Oh, yeah.
And that could have been a factor for you as well, Mason, last year.
Yeah, you remember last year, by the way, we had the drought, which there's a lot that goes into that. Like, hurt the mast year for sure. And then also the deer just aren't as healthy going into season. So, like, some people say they're not as active, they don't move as far. So it's just, there's a lot of little things that it affects that makes it harder. Also, you remember last spring we had that big cicada hatch, and you remember when the cicadas would get up in the trees, you'd see a bunch of dead limbs in the trees where the cicadas were doing something to it. I wonder if that also was like a double whammy for the mass crop. Like, you had that, and then you had the drought. I don't know. I'd like to know if that could potentially have affected it, because I thought about that the other day. I was like, I wonder if the cicadas hurt it too, because we had that like 100-year hatch or whatever it was, where there was like a billion of them.
Yeah, maybe.
Driving down the road, smacking them on your windshield.
Yeah.
It's like a big old gusher. It's terrible.
Thank God cicadas don't bite, but man, they fly on your ear or something, bro. I'll be twitching out
that's
there.
That's a big old bug.
Yeah.
To be landing on you. All right, anyways. So, swamp.
Yeah, but anyways, the drought might have been a big factor for you, Mason. Anyways, the swamp. Nobody ever goes there. Nobody wants to go there. It's your dad's unit. He ain't been in there in 5 years, and he killed his biggest buck in there. I don't know why you're asking any questions, bro. I'd be in that thing. I would try to figure out how it sets up. Does it set up for, like, bedding Is there like thickets in that swamp that bucks can bed in or deer could bed in general? Is it more travel? Is there a solid food source with aquatic vegetation, browse, and potentially mass crops? All that could play a massive factor. Yeah, you got to deal with snakes. Yeah, you got to deal with mosquitoes, the gnats, and pigs. But, I mean, if you could get over that and I say get over that. If you could get past that and find a couple areas where you could go sit effectively, specifically during the gun season for you guys during the rut, I feel like you could have a fantastic hunt. It's going to be a habitat edge because I'm sure it's pines all the way around that swamp. So you're going to have a habitat edge between the timber types. You're going to have a habitat edge between thicknesses. It sounds fantastic. And again, a place that doesn't get much pressure ever. It could be the spot that a mature buck's holding up in at certain points of the year, and also spending a lot of time in outside of roaming around looking for does in other places. So yeah, I would definitely look at that. And with this year, it's been dry now for a little bit. We're starting to get a little bit more rain, but it was raining like crazy up and through June. I'm sure that place is holding some water still. Probably get some pretty good browse growing up and some vegetation. So it'd probably be a really good spot to go check out, walk the perimeter of it, and look for old sign and also just figure out your best access getting in and out of that thing to set up for hunts. But yeah, no, that sounds phenomenal. I would definitely be paying attention to that.
Yeah, the swamp is the place where I'd be interested in doing a little more in season boots on the ground, like walk up in there with the gun or the bow and then try to find the feed tree. Like you can go look for feed trees right now and see which trees actually produce mass. Like I've been doing that on the club, and I've been finding them. But when it comes to actually hunting in there, all those spots that I've been finding on my club, I'm then going to go recheck this coming year, like when I actually go hunt it. And if I walk into them and they're not dropping yet, then I'm going to walk out and go to the next one.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would do with that swamp. I would bounce in and out, and I'd have areas that you're maybe interested in that you could walk into and spot check quickly, and then just hunt hot sign over there. And then over in your other units where you're going to be more rifle hunting during the rut, those are the areas I would find your trees that you want to get in on the best days and go ahead and have them prepped.
Yep.
So,
as you guys hear on the podcast all the time, we talk about mobile hunting for whitetail, staying mobile in the field, not always hunting the same spot twice, and really checking out new ground. If you're interested in getting into mobile hunting this fall, you need to check out the Mobile Hunters Expo in Dalton, Georgia, August 8th through the 10th. This is the third year of the Mobile Hunters Expo is in the Deep South, second year in Dalton, Georgia. This is something we've been going to for 3 years now, and it's a great resource to try to find and learn new gear that you can be using this fall to make you more mobile and more efficient as a whitetail hunter. All the top brands in the mobile hunting community will be there, where you can try a bunch of different saddles, sticks, tree stands, and much more. If you're interested in becoming more mobile this fall, you can check out and get more information at themobilehuntersexpo.com and buy your tickets today. We look forward to seeing you in Dalton, Georgia, August 8th through the 10th.
So it might be the off season, but we're still always thinking about whitetails. And if you're looking to get more mobile this fall and you're looking at saddle setups, the two most common designs you're going to see are a single panel design or a double panel design. They both have their advantages and disadvantages. A single panel design is going to be more comfortable right out of the box, while a double panel design is going to be much more adjustable and customizable to your fit. We always say on the podcast, saddles are kind of like boots. Different people are going to like different things. As a general rule of thumb, I found that heavier set guys typically like a single panel more than they like a double panel. But other than that, it's just really a matter of preference. I personally use both of these saddles. This is the Method 2 from Latitude, and this is the Lone Star from Latitude. I will say that the Method 2 is really nice because it's a two-panel design. It's almost like you have a built-in back band that'll take a little bit of pressure off your back when you're sitting down. But if you're just getting into saddle hunting and you want something that's extremely comfortable right out of the box, the Lone Star is going to be your go-to. It has an advanced hip pinch reduction system in it, so right out of the box, this is going to be very comfortable, and you're not going to have the hip pinch issues that a lot of people have when they first get into saddle hunting. So if you want to be more mobile this fall, check out latitudeoutdoors.com to see these two saddles and a bunch of other mobile hunting gear. We've enjoyed them a lot, and I think you're going to enjoy them too.
all right, next up, we got Liam Clark from Florida.
Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm out here, I'm out in the woods today. I was just putting some corn in my feeder. And I had a question for y'all. Y'all been talking a lot about hunting feed trees early season. And I've not done any feed trees really before. I've only hunted like agriculturally, where I was hunting family land, and we were hunting cornfields. But we just bought some land down here in Florida. And so I'm looking at, I don't got no cornfields down here. So I was looking on Onyx on Acorn producing a layer, and I don't have really any white oaks or red oaks that are on my property or nearby. I do have a lot of, like, whatever this is. And they produce acorns all over the place. They're happy. Let's see if I find one here. They look kind of like that. And they're all over the place. So I was just wondering kind of if feed trees or something, like, I don't know if those are worth hunting here. I just gonna kind of see what y'all think. I have all kinds of, they're everywhere here. And then I have lots of cover too. Like, I got everywhere there's cover. This is kind of one of the thin spots actually. And I have those kind of oaks and acorns everywhere. And then I cover everywhere and water everywhere. So I'm just kind of wondering what y'all think would be the best kind of hunt here. I know, like, last year, this is my second year on it. Last year I kind of hunted rut more, like signs and tracks, and just kind of try to hop with the sign. Is that what y'all would kind of recommend? Yeah, I just kind of lost for what to do up here. I didn't get nothing last year. I've seen some real good bucks on camera for this area. But I just don't really know what exactly to hunt, because food, water, and cover ain't a limiting factor. It does seem to get a little better in the rut, but I'm just kind of lost for early season. Thank y'all in advance. Been enjoying the show. Thank y'all.
All right, Liam, appreciate the question. We've looked at this property before. Liam, I know you've sent it in the past, and I think I've sent some emails back and forth with him, just kind of looking around at what everything looks like. There's the map, Jacob, for you to take a look at. We're not going to share the map on the podcast just so people can't see where your property's at. But this property really reminds me of some places that we used to hunt in the past. Mm-hmm. And that oak, Liam, that you showed on your video, that's a water oak. One way to easily identify a water oak is if you're looking at those leaves, like the ones you showed in the video, if you sit there and look for a second, you'll see 3 distinct kinds of leaves on that tree. One of them that has 2 lobes on it, one that has 1 lobe, and then one that doesn't have any lobes. It just looks like almost like a willow leaf or something like that. So if you go back and look at your video and pause it where you were showing us those leaves, you'll be able to see it. You can see all 3 different kinds of leaves right there. And of course, a little bitty acorn. Wood ducks love those. Deer love them too. That's actually a really good food source. Even here in central Alabama, when you find a good water oak that's dropping, they'll hammer it. They really like those. A friend of mine killed a really nice buck a couple years back on a water oak that was dropping in January. That's another thing about them; they'll drop later as well, because those little bitty acorns on them, they'll produce like 1 billion of them, and they'll drop all year long. Like, it'll drop for a week or 2, and then it'll kind of stop, and then it'll start dropping again. And so you can kind of recheck the same trees throughout the year.
What do you say? Explain. You said all year long. So January to December, they're going to drop?
No, not January to December. Like, they might start dropping in November or something, but they'll drop throughout the season. Yeah, all year. Good catch. They ain't dropping right now.
We get comments like, these idiots saying they're dropping 12 months out of the year.
No, that's not how it happens. So Liam, one thing about the property is you've got all that thick understory right there, but on the satellite image, which again, sorry guys, we're not showing it on the YouTube video just for privacy reasons, you can see edges on the property. So even though the whole thing looks really thick underneath and it's got privet hedge and just scrubby underbrush, there's going to be some kind of edges in there, and if you haven't already, I'd at least check out those edges. I think there's a little bit of topography on it too. I'd look at the habitat or the terrain edges as well, where even if it's just a very gentle slope, go check those out. And I would look for trails also. Just me personally, I would look for trails going through that stuff. The property butts up against some kind of development, like a small neighborhood. There's houses around there. So I'd maybe see if there's any trails, even faint trails that are going to those houses. That would help. The thing about a property like this for early season, you mentioned that you have some feed out there. If you're not getting good deer, like if you're not getting deer that you want to shoot out there during early season, then I would go find some public nearby and hunt some public.
Unless you want to shoot some does.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you want to shoot some does, go shoot some does. But if you're not seeing bucks on it, and your primary focus is you want to kill some bucks on it, then I would maybe stay off of it. Try to not pressure it as much as you can until the rut. You said you've gotten some good deer on camera. I know you've sent them in the past of when those deer are coming through there. That would be my recommendation, because it's not a very big property, so it would be really easy to overpressure it, just going in and out of there, like checking cameras, scouting it, walking it for feed trees, like looking for that fresh sign. While that's good, it's also very easy to pressure the property quite a bit by doing that. So those are some things I would consider. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I know, Liam, you were saying that the property's pretty thick all over, and it looks like it on the map. But there's other areas that look a little bit more open than others. I would specifically try to walk around and get a better lay of the land on that place. And like Andrew, you're talking about like the habitat edges. It looks like there's low spots that run through this property, and there's a habitat change. You can see there's a difference in the color of timber that are in these low little drainages versus the pines. I would walk those habitat edges, and those habitat edges, specifically if you can find some really thick pines, or even the drainage might be really thick. I say really thick, like if you could see more than 30 yards, it's not that thick from like a bedding standpoint. Yeah, they'll bed in more open stuff. But looking for very dense cover, if you can find water oaks, especially larger water oaks, in and around that habitat edge, that could be a really good spot if they produce. And a spot you could slip in through that bottom, climb up a tree, and be able to shoot that tree. If it's producing any feed sign. I will say this, our buddy Greg Mayhair from South Carolina, he's talked about hunting water oaks and feed sign of water oaks, and it looks way different than red oak or white oak. Water oak leaves, when they fall, it makes like a flat mat on the ground. Mm-hmm. And the acorns almost will land on top of those leaves. They don't get buried underneath the leaves like a red oak or white oak will. And the red oak and white oak leaves will stand up a little bit more unless it rains. So like under a red and white oak, you will see a little bit more tilling of the ground and of the leaves where there's a little bit more disturbance. On water oaks, there's not as much disturbance because they don't have to dig around for the acorns. They are laying right there on top of those small leaves that make like a mat. So unless you're finding a lot of droppings or you can definitely see tracks, it might be hard to tell if there's much feed sign happening on one of those trees. So just take that in consideration as well. So if you hear like past podcast guests talking about like, man, you know, the ground's like all tore up underneath a good feed tree. Like the ground's all disturbed, the leaves are all kicked up. You might even see some bare ground. You might not see that underneath a water oak tree or water oak, just due to the fact that those leaves make such a heavy mat and the acorns lay right on top of them when they drop.
That's a great point.
Yep.
That's an excellent point.
Yep.
What do you think about the trail thing, by the way? Like trying to find a trail that goes through there. That's the kind of area where I don't think you're going to find like just a beat down cat.
No, it's going to be like that. Looking at a property like that, it's just going to be like meandering trails, like where you'll hop on a trail and you could walk it like a deer trail for 30 yards, and all of a sudden it just like
kind of
disappears because they just kind of spread back out. I mean, you could look for trails, but I mean, I would try to find more of those habitat edges, like the pines that you were showing us in the video, Liam. Those are fine, but that's not what I would call like good cover. I'm sure there's something thicker on the property that has a little bit harder edge to it. And that's what I would really try to focus on finding, mapping them all out, get on your Onyx, kind of walk the perimeter, like turn your tracker on Onyx, walk the perimeter of any kind of thick cover, and then draw on the app polygons around where your thickets are at, and kind of have those mapped on the property, and then figure out your edges of all those polygons of those thickets. And where those polygons get fairly close to each other, there's a little opening in between, that would be a fantastic spot to check out.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it all comes down to whatever makes you happy when you're hunting and what your goals are. And the reason that I say maybe go find a local piece of public is, you know, it, like I said, it depends on what your goals are. But if you're trying to kill a buck out here, you know, we were just at the GON Outdoor Blast, and we were talking to a lot of Georgia guys, and a lot of the people we talked to in Georgia are in pretty similar situations to this. They have, maybe they own a little bit of land, or they have permission pieces, and they're smaller properties, and they're like, well, how can I get the most out of this property? And again, it depends on what your goals are. But most of the guys that we talk to who specialize in hunting smaller properties, like Alan Somerford's a good example, what they've told us is you want to put the least amount of pressure on that property as you possibly can and hunt it at the exact right time. So hunt it when conditions are favorable and you can get in and get out very cleanly. And other than that, keep the pressure low. And that can, you know, if you're wanting to hunt a lot, that can be kind of a downer because, you know, it's like this push and pull of like you want to hunt a lot, but you don't want to overpressure the property. So it's like at the end of the day, if that's where you're hunting, just go hunt and have fun. That's the main thing. But if you're trying to kill a really nice buck out here and you're trying to kill one of those bucks that you've gotten on camera over the years, then it might take you coming back off the pressure a little bit, because if no one else is hunting this, like you're the main pressure that's on the property, you or your family, whoever's hunting it, and to backfill that hunting time, like you don't want to just spend weekends sitting at the house when you could be hunting. That's why I say maybe go try to pick up a permission property somewhere else, maybe try to go hunt some public somewhere else. So maybe on those less than ideal weekends where you still want to be out in the woods, but maybe it just doesn't quite set up right to hunt this place, you still have an option to go and spend time in the woods, go have fun without pressure on the property.
Also, pressure is not just you hunting in a tree stand. It's you walking around, driving around in a side-by-side or four-wheeler. I mean, even putting corn out in a feeder could be, you know, indication of pressure. Now, they're going to get some of the deer are going to get used to you coming and dropping corn off. Like tons of people put corn out, and then if you do it all the time, and then those deer show up 30 minutes after you put the corn out, like of course that happens. But that's what we're talking about with pressure. It's not just you actively hunting; it's just being active on the property, walking around, driving around, that kind of stuff. So yeah, just take that into consideration. But it looks great. I mean, it's good looking property. Got the big power line runs on the property boundary, which is another kind of a hard edge right there that deer could be funneling up and down and crossing it. So it's a good looking spot, Liam. Hopefully this is your season. And also, if you got photos, trail cam photos of bucks from last year, daylight and certain dates during season, take that in consideration for when you should be hunting this year.
Yep, definitely. You want to do one more?
Sure.
Got one more. All right, this is from Dakota Ritchie from North Carolina. Subject is found good sign.
Ooh.
What's up, guys? Dakota here from North Carolina, out doing some scouting before October comes around in a different state. But walking the top of this ridge right here and happened to drop down just a little bit, and there's a drainage right here in front of me, and it has a trail across the top of it right here. So right there, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's a trail that goes through there. And then right here, you have this big drainage. And then you got a ridge that runs to a point over here. And the same thing on that side. You got that ridge. It comes from the top right here, comes down to a point right there. And then right up there, right as it starts to roll down, there's about 4 or 5 beds that are anywhere from 5 to 10 feet apart. Just sitting there and they can look down off this point into this drainage right here. There's a creek below us. There's a couple oak trees through here. There's a lot of diversity habitat right here. All kinds of species of trees. But didn't know that'd be something interesting in y'all wanting to use when y'all talk about it. I know Bobby Worthington, sorry if I mispronounced that, but I know he talks about that quite a bit. I just have to run across it and figure I'd take a video and send y'all for y'all to use if you wanted to. But thanks for the content. Look forward to more episodes, and I'm definitely learning a lot from all the ones y'all have on there. Appreciate it, guys.
Nice. I appreciate you sending that in, Dakota. That's the first thing that popped in my head was Bobby Worthington when he was showing how that set up. That's pretty much exactly what we were scouting with Bobby in our scouting video with him. drainages coming up. At the tip of that drainage, you'll find a trail. Where we were scouting with Bobby, he was finding multiple trails in a setting like that, but you did a really good job of kind of showing how that's set up. So that's a really good visual example of that. And then the beds up at the tip you were talking about, usually this is not the gospel or anything, but usually when you find beds like that, 5 of them kind of all together, it's usually a doe group.
Yeah.
That's bedding right there.
Yep.
And they probably do bed right there, but it's not something I'd worry about too much, you know.
No, but it's a good ditch funnel, exactly like what Bobby Worthington talks about, and it's something he's had success on for decades. So, again, that's something that you can always pay attention to. I've got a good ditch funnel that, since we've got moisture and we get some more rain, should be killer this fall. Spot I was talking about last year, I was thinking I was going to kill a buck open in the evening, and did not happen.
Yeah.
It kept getting drier and drier, and those deer shifted from September to October 15th. They were there 1 week, laying
Gone.
a ton of sign, and they were out of there. But anyway, no, Dakota, that's a great looking spot. I think there was a Dakota from North Carolina that wrote in a listener success story about 3-4 years ago who killed a freaking giant on some public land in North Carolina, and I wondered if that's him. So I don't remember his last name from the listener success story. Kind of looks similar. Dakota, if that was you wrote a listener success story a couple years ago. Love to know if that's the case. But anyway, no, that's awesome though. Again, I love some topography. You get some topography, man, it just makes it where, like, especially trails just pop so much easier in some of that stuff.
Yeah, I could see the trail on the video, and if the trail shows up on a video, it's a good trail.
It's a good trail.
It's a really good trail.
That's
They
the
don't
most-
show up on camera.
That's the most depressing thing ever. Like, you find a really good trail, you film it on your phone or on a camera, and you're like, where's it at? Like, you're just, like, sad. Unless it's bare dirt. And even a bare dirt one, they just don't look that impressive.
Yeah,
on
it just doesn't look as good on camera as it does in person.
No, you're like, man, it looks like a hiking trail when you're walking it or looking at it. You film it, and you're like, just like this dim little subtle leaves kicked up right there.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good example too of if summer scouting's your game, if you want to go out there and do some summer scouting, which some people do, some people don't. But if you're wanting to do summer scouting, that's the kind of things that are good to scout during the summertime, because it's something that isn't necessarily going to change. I mean, deer could shift like what you're talking about, but it's not like going and finding a feed tree that's going to be hot for like 10 days.
No,
you know?
You're looking at terrain. You're trying to, like, summer scouting, I feel like, is like learning a property, learning where past signs kind of at, trails are at, but also how the topography and the habitat sets up. That, again, would be spots that you might want to put cameras on to find bucks throughout late summer, early fall into bow season. But that's really what I feel like you're looking for the most in the summertime is how does the property lay out, terrain, and habitat edges.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. That's all the questions we got. Appreciate everyone who wrote in those or sent in. I always say write in.
I know.
So used to saying
you don't
that.
write a video.
Yeah. Well, appreciate everyone sending in those videos. Those are really fun for us to do. So if y'all got any questions, send them in. I almost said it again. I almost said write them in. I had to pause for a second. Send them in. Send them. I almost said it again, dude. I need to stop. Anyways, so we'll do more of those next Thursday. In the meantime, like you said, we got the Mobile Hunters Expo. I have a quick update on the club. We've been running the cameras, like we said, putting them on road crossings, and got a couple on scrapes in the woods right now. Haven't really had much on the scrapes yet. Had some does come by the scrapes, but haven't had a buck on any of the scrapes. So whenever we get a free moment, which we don't have a lot of right now, we're gonna go in there and probably move those around. Maybe try to find some other scrapes to put them on. But on the road crossings, we've got several pretty nice deer that have showed up so far. And it's like the tale of two clubs, like you were talking about. I was in this other club these last couple of years, right across the street, literally across the street.
Literally across the street. Next door neighbor.
Depressing. Not that many nice bucks. Not that many does, honestly. It was a tough place to hunt for a couple of years. Killed some bucks on it.
Great place to hunt if you like coyotes.
Great place to hunt if you like coyotes. And rabbits. There's a lot of rabbits. I like a good rabbit hunt. So, but now just right across the street. Last year, for instance, we had 3 bucks that we would have shot. 2 of the bucks are deer that I'd be like real excited about shooting, like just nice antlers. One of the deer was a mature deer that I would be excited about shooting, but he's not like impressive. He's a mature deer, and I'd be excited about him. But when it comes to just like what you're seeing on camera and everything and getting excited. He's not overly exciting. This year on the new club, we've got, I think, 5 that I'd be very excited about shooting. And it's just right across the road. And Mike is still he's in both of the clubs. So he's still in the old one. He's got cameras out there, and we share all our cameras. And I'm watching his cameras. And I haven't seen a single deer that I'd be excited about shooting come across any of those yet. So looks like I made the right decision. Hopping over. Grass is greener on the other side. It actually is greener this time. But we got a camera down on the creek crossing, or he's got the camera down on the creek crossing where we got the big 10-point Steve these last couple seasons. And sure enough, this year there's a bachelor group using it, and the biggest one is like just a decent little 8-point, nothing crazy, immature, little peanut-bodied feller. But then on this club, we had one show up yesterday who's a 10-point, pretty nice, like tight rack 10-point. He's already got pretty decent time length, and he's got some runway ahead of him. So we'll see what he turns into. But we got 2 wide bucks. I mean, it's looking pretty good. I'm excited.
Also, can we talk about who else joined the club?
Yes.
Can we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was trying to get Jacob to join. He wouldn't join.
Yeah.
And so you know who joined? None other than our buddy Scott Seals, baby.
He was on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Scott hit me up. He's like, "Hey, is that club still open?" I would have texted Scott about it, but I didn't think he would want to join a club because he's got his spots and everything. I was like, "Yeah." And I just sent him the guy's number, the president's number, and what did he say? Oh, well, I'm not gonna get into all that, but because I don't want to give away the location. But I mean, within 10 minutes, he's like, "I'm in." I was like, "Heck yeah." It's going to be a party this year. We got Scott in the club. It's going to be fun.
Maybe Mark?
Mark might join, who was also on the podcast with Scott a couple weeks ago. So we're still seeing there might be one more opening. There's one guy apparently who they don't know if he's going to pay his dues or not. So we might open that spot up.
So any listeners or viewers out there, you want to join Angel's club, hit him up.
Seems like Mark might have it on lockdown.
Maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, Scott's been out there looking around. Me and Scott are going to go scout it together after we slow down with all these shows and travel and everything. We're going to get out there and check it out. But right now, dude, I've barely been out there, and we're already getting some nice deer on camera, so I'm excited. I haven't even looked at some of the parts of the club I'm most excited about yet.
See, the real question is, when are we starting the Southern Outdoorsmen Hunting Club?
You know, I thought about that. That would be cool. That would be cool. How would we structure that?
I don't know, but we'd have to have a policy where, like, X amount of listeners could come hunt as guests. I think it would be pretty cool. You Southern Outdoorsmen.
We could do that
camp.
if we found a property and someone would want to lease it or whatever, and we could figure out what the rate would have.
Would y'all want to
be.
come hunt with us? That's the question.
That would be.
And then we're not spot burning because it's not public. It wouldn't be public land. So you can take whoever, you can show everything.
Man, that would be super fun. We should try that.
Sam Brown would come down from Maryland for a fact and come hunt.
Yeah. Sam would already have the whole place pinned up.
Yeah.
And Sam, he wrote in that question about e-scout, and I'm like, Sam, you're pretty good at e-scout, my man.
Exactly.
Anyways, but yeah, so it's been good so far, but scrape update, scrapes are not producing yet. Hadn't been great, my man. Hadn't been great. What we have been finding bucks on so far this summer has been the road crossings. Just slow rolling down the roads in the truck, finding the big tracks, putting a camera on those big tracks. And some of the bucks are crossing the roads. A lot of them are walking right down the middle of the gravel roads. And so you can't pick up a track because it's just gravel. There's nothing to leave a track in.
Does that change your thoughts on just putting it on some of the spots where you can't see tracks, but it's to test it, shooting a camera across the road and seeing if you can catch bucks walking some of those spots that just you would never see a track?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Especially in particular where the 10-point showed up. So 2 or 3 of the shooters that we've gotten on camera have been in one spot like that.
Clarification, this is not Steve the 10-point from the other club.
No, this is not him. We're seeing if
Are you sure?
I'm definitely sure it's
Okay.
not the same deer.
Okay.
But maybe he'll show back up. Because that creek crossing I mentioned earlier, that's where we always used to get him on camera. And he usually showed up about this time, usually late July or sometime in August. So we'll see if he pops up again. Maybe he lived and he just kind of shifted around a little bit, evaded our...
Went to greener pastures or greener food plots, which is your club across the road.
Went to greener food plots. So I don't know what happened to that deer. But but he evaporated from our lives, unfortunately. But anyways, this spot that all these new bucks are at on the new club, where they're walking down the road, it's an area that's habitat and terrain diverse. So it's like a kind of a flat part of a ridge. It's not down at the bottom. It's on a ridge, and the road's running right down the middle of the ridge. But the road comes off of a really big hill, and it gets steep, and it goes down, and then it flattens out. And it kind of rides the top of this flat ridge for a minute, and then goes down all the way to the bottom. And so that right there is kind of where they're hanging out. And sometimes they're crossing the road, sometimes they're walking right down the middle of it. And that's where we've been getting them on camera. So I didn't put the camera there just because of that. I put the camera there because there was a little mud puddle on the side of the road, and there was a 4-finger track in it. And that's where they've been showing up at. So we'll see. We will see.
So road
I saw another quail out there the other day.
Yeah, I got quails all over the property too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's looking
Turkeys.
It's looking good. Turkeys. We got a bunch of poults on camera. A couple hens with some poults.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All the rain, had us a little worried about them poults.
They
God
made it.
bless them.
They made it. No, that's awesome. I don't have any updates from me. I have gone back and forth about getting into this one club to kind of open up some different opportunities, and
You're not gonna do it.
probably not.
Just be honest, bro. You ain't gonna do
Staying
it.
out there in the public, boys. Let's go. the tale of two tails. No, let me try and think here.
I don't know what
Tale of
analogy.
two seasons.
Oh yeah.
Andrew going full private, me staying on the public. Let's see
I'm
how it
not
goes.
full private. I'm public. Man.
Traitor.
I know everyone's coming up at the trade shows and they're like, "So you don't hunt public anymore?" I'm like, "I do. I hunt public
Corn
more."
Powell shooting house.
Oh my
Boy.
gosh, bro. Hey, Mike got into one of the spots I'm most interested in on this club, by the way. And he ran this SMZ it's kind of sandwiched between two different pine stands. One of the pine stands is probably like 12 years old. It's kind of at that perfect age where the pine trees are big and they're thick enough, like you can't shoot into it, but the understory, it says dark pines that Scott and Mark were talking about. Understory's thick, but the pine trees are big enough that you can't climb a tree and shoot down into it. So it's like 100% a sanctuary. And then the other side is just some terrible pine trees. Like they're the age of pines where everything's shaded out. It's like a pine straw desert underneath there. And it's sandwiched this SMZ is sandwiched right between those two stands. And of course, all the sign is concentrated on the side with the thick cover. But there's some terrain features that lead down into it. And Mike found some really big rubs and some really nice scrapes down there that are kind of right where we were hoping they would be. So going back to Tale of Two Clubs, the other club, I would find areas on the map where I'm like, oh, there's going to be a scrape right there. And I would go and like probably 7 times out of 10, there would not be a scrape there. And on this new club, it's the exact opposite. Most of the time there is whatever sign I'm expecting to find is actually there. So I don't know what the deal is with that old place. That place it's got an old grave on it of a Confederate soldier.
Maybe
I think
he's running them out of there.
it's haunted, and that his ghost is running him off or something like that. I don't know. It's just one grave out in the woods. Kind of creepy walking by it.
Makes me want to go over there with a metal detector. I ain't trying to dig nobody up. I'm just looking around the vicinity.
The general area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've hunted next to him. Listen, you told me that. I climbed a tree right there on the road next to
Go
him.
find that old specter out in the woods. Be like, hey, bro, you seen any bucks?
No, I did. I was sitting there. I'm like, man, if this ghost shows up, I'm asking him, bro, where are you seeing the bucks at? Because they ain't right here.
Hey, Private Higgins.
Oh, yeah, Hell Higgs.
Yeah, you seen any bucks out here lately? You're out here all the time.
Yeah, dude. Come on now.
Oh, my gosh.
No. Yeah, good times. I don't know. It is weird, though, that this club literally across the road, similar habitat. The only thing different, I would say, is you actually have some longleaf stands on this other club, and they actually burn it a little bit. Other than that, it's super similar. And it really, one actually difference is your old club had a big creek going through it. This club doesn't have a real big creek going through it.
Yeah.
At least like big creek, when I say like big creek with a big SMZ.
Yeah.
Your old club had that. This club doesn't have that, which I would feel like the big creek, big SMZ would be better
Yeah. On the other club, the creek was big enough. I actually fished in it a couple times.
Yeah.
Like I waded it and fished it for little bass and everything. This new club doesn't have anything like that. It's got little streams on it, but nothing you would like go catch a bass in.
Yeah, no.
And I don't know how that's going to affect things, but we found a real nice scrape the other day on the edge of there's a parcel right in the middle it's kind of mixed oak and pines. It's an out parcel, and right on the edge of it there's a fire break going around it. And right on the edge of that fire break, there's a big scrape right there.
You're talking on the new club?
Yeah, on the new club.
There's an out parcel on the new club?
Yep. And right there on the edge, there's a big black oak coming out, and there's a limb hanging off that black oak right there on the edge of the road and the fire break. And there's a scrape right there, and there's another scrape about 10 yards down the fire break on another sapling. And there's some rubs around there too. So, and there's a perfect tree where you can put a camera looking straight down the fire break and see both scrapes. So we're going to put a camera on that once season gets a little bit closer and see what's coming through there.
Is the out parcel part of the club or no?
I don't know actually. I didn't walk on it because I don't know. But I got to ask because at our old club there's an out parcel, but it was included in our membership. So they worked out a deal. I don't know if they've done that on the new club or not. So, anyways, it's looking good, man. It's looking real good. We're going to see what we can get into.
Yeah, have you had any crazy people driving around with side-by-sides or four-wheelers and dirt bikes and all that?
Yeah, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
Oh, yeah. All those road cameras. I know where they're coming in at, too. But
oh, you do?
Oh, yeah. I know exactly where they're coming in at. But, yeah, on those road cameras, you'll get a buck at like 10 p.m., and then at 1 a.m., there'll be a side-by-side just ripping through there. People riding around, listening to music, probably having some beverages. Trail
For
ride.
sure. There's no way they're driving sober.
No.
No way.
No.
No.
Definitely.
That area. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, listen, guys, Mobile Hunter Expo literally starts tomorrow. So if you can make it, Dalton, Georgia, come hang out with us again, 8th, 9th, 10th of August. We're going to be there. Super excited to see a lot of you all.
Get your grunt call.
Come get your grunt call. Come check out some new apparel, hats. We got brand new hats launching at the show that has yet to be seen by anybody, and they are sick. Bake me up a couple. But again, just come try out some gear, hang out with us, hang out with a bunch of other people. There's a bunch of past podcast guests that are going to be there. And it's really is a great time. It's a favorite show that we go to over the whole year. So other than that, appreciate everybody watching the podcast. Thank y'all for listening. We'll catch you back here in the next episode from Southern Outdoorsmen. And remember, guys, y'all stay Southern.